How are you today?
Hi, Zach. I'm good. I'm better now being able to talk to you about Wishbone. I love talking about it.
Yeah. Um, getting to watch this documentary, tremendous it's not just nostalgia, it's oh yeah, this was so formative in a way that I didn't even realize when it was happening and didn't realize for maybe 10, 20, 30 years onward until now watching the movie and like, oh yeah, that show was really important to me.
That's wonderful. That's really great to hear. That was
Um
important to us when we were making it. Yeah.
Tell me about the impetus for getting the band back together to make this documentary. Like, did you get a call and they're like, "Hey, we're
Oh,
doing a thing"?
well, it's funny. We've stayed friends. So, over in the pandemic, Joey, we had a Facebook and we would post things and we've all been friends over the years, just didn't have a reason to see each other. And over the pandemic, we would sort of spontaneously have these Zooms and it would surprise me how many people would show up. And then Joey and I were working on a movie and saying, it seems like over and over again, people come to us and talk about, the enduring legacy of Wishbone. And somewhere in there, someone else wanted to make a documentary, and their agreement, they sent us, we said, okay, we'll think about that. And the agreement said, had a lot of restrictions. And then we thought, wait, this is our story and we're filmmakers. So why don't we tell it? And that's really how it came together.
Kid shows a dog actor in every scene. Lassie wasn't in every scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
That was the show was a huge risk.
it definitely was a huge
Um,
risk, you know.
yeah,
I don't think I knew or any of us knew how different it was because so it's really interesting to look at it now. Uh, we just were all in. It was very creative and a great opportunity, and we all just jumped at it and just really put our heads down to try to make it work. Um, it was joyful. It was a really joy. It wasn't, I'm not saying it was easy, but it was really fun to make. Everyone worked so
so
hard.
when you started Wishbone, and the odds were against it being successful, kind of, you talk in the movie about how, on the first day there was a fear that you weren't going that it was going to fall apart before lunch.
Right.
Was there a moment when you realized that, oh yeah, this is actually going to work?
Actually, I think it was when we got through that first day, and then the second, and then the third, and then we made the week. The scripts were great. We had an amazing showrunner, and I didn't even know what a showrunner was at the time. A great writer, a head writer, and she put together a great team. And so the stories were good, and we did a lot of work. Her team did a lot of work to work with the books and to extract the story. And then our trainer was amazing. I'd worked with Steve Martin's Working Wildlife before, which is how I ended up bringing in Jackie's dogs to the audition, specifically soccer. Um, so yeah, it just all kind of came together. But it did it when it started to kind of come together when we got through that first day and that first week, I felt really good about it. I felt like, that it was going to be great. It was going to be fun. Did we have any idea the impact it would make? No idea. We were so we were so just focused on putting it together, you know. But I will tell you, there was a lot of heart and a lot of passion. I was a young mom. I really felt like, I was like a mom to someone like your age. So it was real, it's immense passion for me. Just, it was like it was a dream job. It was something I'd always wanted to do.
And I think that you brought a level of cinematic grandeur to the show. A kid will watch a kid show, and then when they grow up, they'll watch a different show. But
Right,
Wishbone and other shows that treat their kids like viewers,
right.
customers, you can watch that forever. I could watch a Wishbone right now and have a great time.
Well, that is such an incredible compliment. And I will say that I think it really came from our team. So our DP really worked with Rick, and you probably saw in the sequence that it was important we wanted it to be cinematic. We wanted them to be like a little movie. So it started with story. I knew Rhodey Kent, because I had some experience on the feature side. Um, and I just knew some great, interesting key people, Gigi Coker with makeup, Stephen Kujay with costumes, Joey who could run and put it all together. So it really came from all of us wanting to make these little movies. And it started from story, not wanting Stephanie and team and Rick and team not wanting to write down to children. Um, and then it was really fun doing with the dog. But again, that was had to be very professional. We couldn't pet the dog. It was um, so he could focus. But we cared a lot about taking care of him. And but thank you. That was an amazing compliment because it was really what we wanted. We wanted them to be little mini movies. And I think they are.
And I feel like the apex of that is getting to do a real movie at the end, the western. That's a full length, the same process that you used. You is there a vindication in realizing that, oh yeah, we really were making movies, to wit, we were able to make a real one, a full length one, and it's equally a movie and a Wishbone.
Yes, I will tell you, Zach, you get a chance to work on or be on the set of a Western, do it. Because we were on the Silverado set. They just made Silverado, and we had a stagecoach coming through, and this wonderful wishbone double that actually could round up cows. So
Whoa.
we really did have a blast. And main we had two sets, one that was kind of the big wide open spaces, and one that was the town. Uh, and that it was heaven on earth. Yeah, it was great.
Do you think that that a new Wishbone could be done in the old way? What you
You
had was lightning in a bottle, and they let you do it. They'd make you use like a robot dog or something.
Oh my gosh, no, we cannot use a robot dog. No, I mean, the magic and the lightning in the bottle came from that dog. I mean, everybody loves a dog. And so even the little biddies that would watch it, they may not understand the story, but they love the dog. So yes, I absolutely think it could be put together. And that I think that a lot of people, as our world gets more computerized, AI, automated robots, like the authentic experience, and I think that would be something really unique and special. It was we didn't know we were creating this process, but it worked. So, um, yeah, I think it could be done, and should be if it ever was done in a similar fashion.
The more the tech bros or whoever they are keep on threatening us
Right.
with the rise of AI, the more we realize how much, not just we don't want it, but how much we like the way things are made with with dirt under your nails, right?
Right. Be on that Western set. Feel the wind blow on your face. Have and recreate that reality because it is an authentic reality. And I think that's really going to be something that's going to emerge as something popular because it's going to be this whole world that's happening and all of that. But I think that's what people will seek and want. Um, and yeah, and Wishbone was so real and powerful because of the dog. And then Larry brings the voice. So together they made it a real character. And what was wonderful about that is having him on set. We had created this, we called it the dog box that Larry was in. So it was a real character in real time. It didn't happen in post-production. We didn't try, and we did a test to try to do lips, and that was horrible. I hate that, but I see people do that. I think it's just terrible. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Have there been, I'm sure there's been attempts to bring Wishbone back in one form or another over the past 30 years now since the
Right.
show ended. Um, can you say a little bit about any that maybe got close, or maybe why they didn't pan out, or were you not involved in those stages?
No, no, I've been involved. Joey and I have been working together for 10 years. And when he contacted me and said, "Hey Benny, this is after the movie. Let's try to reboot the series." I was like, "Oh, Joey, it is such a big hill, but yeah, I'm in. Well, we can try." And we did have meetings with Mattel, who owns the rights. At the very beginning, I don't even know they realized they owned the rights. If they had it, it was like Wishbone's in a box somewhere. But
Right.
yeah, and we couldn't afford the rights. And then we talked about partnering and we had a couple meetings. And then they developed this feature division that you probably have heard of that created a little movie called Barbie. So they were in the throes of developing maybe a Wishbone feature that was announced several years ago. And I don't know where that is. And at one point we had to have a conversation. So that's all in their world because they have the rights. So we did talk. It almost happened, but it just didn't happen. And then we because it was such a powerful experience, and it was so great to see now what a powerful experience it is for the viewers, but it was such a powerful experience for us. We literally had a band that we'd have these little rap parties, and then the band would play, and it was just it was just so much fun. Like I said, it wasn't easy, but it was just so much fun. So that's when we thought, okay, let's tell our own story. Let's try and get the band back together.
Sorry, are there season two scripts? Because the season was only 10 episodes. So are there like lost Wishbone scripts that could be produced someday?
No, I don't think so. I think that was all a function, a factor of the money that we had to put behind it. There is a Lost Wishbone episode, The Canine Cure, based on the event Imaginary Invalid, and it was taken down from because it's satire, and but it some viewers thought it was, I don't know. Uh, It was, if you see the episode, is a very funny scene. It's talking about allergies, and this little boy has allergies, and he's spending the night at Joe's house, and he wakes up and Wishbone sneezes. I mean, soccer actually sneezes. It's very, very funny. But that is the episode that was kind of pulled from the regular broadcast. But it's a good one.
Well, thank goodness the no one can be offended by the sneezing dog. Uh,
It was
Something
hilarious.
about peanut butter allergies, but
It was weird and
um,
funny and hilarious, and it just happened. It didn't. You can't cue a dog to sneeze.
sure.
So,
I mean, those okay. Well, kind of with that, uh, are there versions of these scripts that you got where you were like, we can't film this because this, there's murder and death in these novels, and kind of distilling them to the essence, where it can be faithful while still being a Wishbone story for children. Was there a process to getting the writing staff to make it family friendly?
that's a really
There's
great.
no R-rated Wishbone
There is
cuts.
there is no R-rated Wishbone, and Stephanie is really great talking about the process. But there were some scripts where the script would say, "And Wishbone holds a gun." Well, we did have this thing called a faux pas, this fake paw to try to. But a dog, there was some writers that would have a trouble writing for a dog that's a dog. They would want it to be more of a human. But I think our writers really did an amazing job
Right.
adapting. There was definitely rewrites, and I would say Stephanie probably touched every script in a polish or adapting to be what we could shoot.
Sure. I mean, it's tough to have a protagonist with no opposable thumbs.
Exactly. So yeah, actually, but we did have this fun faux pas. We did use that. That was cool.
Yeah, with the musket.
Hmm.
Um, so I guess last question, kind of looking back, making this documentary, um, are there any kind of lessons that you learned on Wishbone that you take with you to your current career? besides learning how to stretch a buck. Um, something that the show taught you.
It taught me the value of a great team. It taught me how, and I was so blessed that we had this phenomenal team from the creative, from the writing, all the way through to craft service. I mean, it was everybody really was an amazing part of that. And there's only been a couple of times that I've had something close to that, but pretty much not really on that level. Um, but it taught me the importance of putting together a really great team. And a big part of that is, mutual respect and appreciation and kindness, and humor. Humor is a huge part of it because this stuff is hard. Making movies is hard. So the humor and the getting through it together as a team, uh, it taught me how important that really is to a really healthy filmmaking and joyful filmmaking process.
Well, that point is articulated so well in the movie. Everyone gets their chance to say how they shaped this show, and I think that's so good. It's not just you and Joe, and it's not just Larry. It's really all the whole production
Every
gets their time to shine in the movie, and I really appreciated that.
Yes. And we appreciate you being a viewer and appreciating it all these years later. That's been probably the greatest joy that has come out of this. And we felt like it was there. We knew it was there, but living through this experience right now has just been amazing. So thank you.
Oh, I bet you've earned this victory lap.
Thank you so much, Zach.